What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today I have a very important video for you guys, and we're going to be talking about how many superstars, stars, and X factors you guys can expect to see in a randomly generated Madden 21 draft class in each round. So is there a weight towards first rounders? Will you more often see superstars in the first round? Will you more often see stars in the sixth round? We're going to answer those questions for you today because I put in quite a bit of work here to run some data and compare it to other research that I've done online and get you guys a good answer as to where each level of player is going to be drafted or is going to be available for you in Madden 21 in a randomly generated draft class. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. As you guys can see, I did this all within one franchise. So I just ran through each season, simulated the draft, and came to the draft recap. And then through the draft recap, I essentially determined how many players there were of each type of development trait in each round. And so I just went and scrolled by NFL, and I went through every single round, and then counted up how many players in each round had a specific development trait. Now, with that being said, like I said, I did this for 3 years to give you guys a good projection, and there are a couple of very important takeaways to go through after I go through the end here. So the first time I ran through this, the first draft class, it had a star D-tackle as the third pick, a superstar quarterback as the seventh pick, an X-factor free safety as the eighth pick, a star left outside linebacker is the 22nd pick, a star cornerback is the 23rd pick, a superstar center is the 28th pick, a superstar halfback as the 4th pick in the second round, and then there were 2 other stars in the second round, 2 other stars in the third round, a star in the 4th round, a star in the 5th round, and a star in the 6th round. The second time that I ran through, actually before I say that, to recap that first draft, there were 14 total players that were drafted that had a development grade. 6 of them went in the first round, 3 of them went in the second round, 2 of them in the third round, and then roughly after that there was 1 development player per round, so 4th, 5th, and 6th round. The second draft class, just to give you guys a little bit of information on that one, the second pick in the draft class was a superstar left end, the third pick was a superstar X-factor right end, and then we had a star free safety as the 8th pick, a star right end as the 9th pick, a superstar D-tackle as the 10th pick, then there was a star wide receiver as the 14th, a star left tackle as the 15th, a star D-tackle as the 16th, a star left end as the 17th, a star halfback as the 22nd, and a superstar wide receiver as the 28th pick. We then had 2 stars in the second round, a star in the third round, and 1 star in the 5th round. So to recap that draft class, we had 15 total players that were drafted that had development grades. 11 of them appeared in the first round, 2 of them appeared in the second round, 1 of them appeared in the third round, and 1 of them appeared in the 5th round. So you guys might be noticing that there's a bit of a trend going on here with these draft classes. So with that being said, I'm going to show you guys this one, which is the third draft class, and kind of recap what's going on here. I'm not going to click into every single player and click edit so you can see exactly what their grade is, but this first overall pick right end was a superstar development. The 10th pick was a superstar tight end. The 14th pick was a superstar D-tackle, as you guys can see here. And then we had a superstar strong safety, sorry, confused myself because it was SS superstar as the 21st pick. We had a superstar wide receiver as the 22nd pick, or sorry, a star wide receiver, and the strong safety was a star. And then we had a couple of other stars. We had 2 stars in the early second round. We had another star in the late second round. We had 2 stars in the third round, a star in the 4th round, a star in the 6th round, and then a star in the 7th round. So with that being said, a couple of the takeaways to go with this one, scanning through the entire draft class for you guys. Obviously, most of the stars and superstars occurred in the first round. You are significantly more likely to actually obtain a superstar or an X Factor or even a star in the first round, as you guys could see there, without clicking through and scrolling through every player. In addition to that, both of the X Factors that were selected were top 10 picks. So in the first draft class and the second draft class, we had an X Factor that were both top 10 picks. Unfortunately, we did not have an X Factor in this third draft class, which is possible. In addition to that, all but one superstar was a first round pick. There was one superstar that was an early second round pick. All superstars were projected as first round talents whenever I was going through and randomly creating the draft class and scanning through to see where all of these players were actually projected to go. In addition to that, all superstars 8 out of 12 superstars or better were top 10 picks. So that's all superstars and X Factors were top 10 picks. Beyond the third round, I only ever saw one dev per round. I never saw any more than one star, superstar, X Factor in any particular round beyond the third round. So 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, every single one of those rounds at most had one development player. In addition to that, 2 out of 3 times there was an X Factor. Obviously, there was the one time that was not an X Factor, and there was never more than one X Factor in a single draft class. So with that being said, you guys can see that generally speaking, you are more likely to acquire superstars, stars, X Factors in the first round. In order to get a superstar or a X Factor, you're generally going to want to be picking in the top 10. And then just a little bit more information to align with that, you guys will have a link that I'm going to provide in the description. This data aligns pretty much exactly with what Madden School has online. So in any computer-generated draft class, they say that there will usually be somewhere between 3 to 5 superstar players and 10 star players. And again, every now and then there may be a superstar X Factor player. So as you guys can see, there isn't always a superstar X Factor player, but in every single one of these draft classes, we had around 14 or 15 players that had dev traits. So in theirs, they say 10 players roughly will have star, 3 to 5 will have superstar, and therefore these numbers line up pretty exactly, so you guys can tell that this is actually pretty straightforward and legit in comparison to what the results are that I showed. So generally speaking, just to answer the question that is out there, you are far more likely to get anybody that has a dev trait within the first round as opposed to getting a player that has a dev trait in later rounds. And to give a little bit more context to that, you have the highest chance of getting those players within the top 10 picks. You have a slightly less chance of getting them generally within the first round. You then have a less chance of getting them in the second round, and even further less chance in the third round. And then beyond the third round, you have a very slim chance of actually getting anybody with a dev trait, though it is possible. I did not specifically see any superstars or X Factors in the later rounds beyond the third round. In fact, every time that I did this, the latest superstar that I ever got was in the early second round. So that's very important information for you guys to have whenever you are considering drafting in a draft class, a randomly generated draft class. Hopefully this information helps you guys out in some way. Like I said, I took a couple hours to run this data and do 3 of these for you guys so you guys could see exactly what's going on. With that being said, hopefully this helps you guys out. Hopefully you guys find this information useful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.